my channel. My name is Travis, and this is Talking with Trav. First, I would like to give a little bit of my background and introduce myself. Born in Washington, D.C., grew up in the area, Oxon Hill, Fort Washington, the whole DMV area. Joined the Marine Corps when I was 22, served in the Marine Corps, and I got out, moved from California to Las Vegas, where I currently reside, and here we are. If you all have any questions or want to get to know more of who I am and kind of all of what I do, then definitely leave a comment below, or you can email me, which we will leave in the description below, as well as my Instagram. I don't snap so much, but you're more than welcome to add me. And so other than that, without further ado, let's talk. Welcome back. As you can see, I made a transition, so no, it's not your eyes, you're not tripping. So I was able to reach out. As you can see, I'm gonna pull it up. This is my real Instagram inbox, my DMs, as you all say. And I was able to receive some idea topics of some things that some people wanted me to kind of talk about and things like that. For the first thing I'm gonna go over actually is from Jaime in Texas. He was kind of asking me about my different cultural experiences, kind of through my travels in the Marine Corps. Especially your first country that you go to is really an eye opener, because you kind of realize a lot of the stuff you see on TV isn't 100% accurate. Some of it is, but it's very different. It's very different. And everything from the language, especially if it's a language that you don't speak, you realize that there are some people that can help, but depending on the country, sometimes you out there trying to read and you're lost, and you hope you run into somebody that speaks the language. But I think the first country I went to was Japan. I flew from Dulles in Virginia straight to Tokyo, and that was 16 hours. I think they gave us 2 meals on the 16-hour flight. And I was in Okinawa, Japan, where I was stationed for 2 years, but ultimately I was on the Muse, so I was on ship, so I got to go to numerous countries, throughout that time. So I wasn't actually in Japan the whole 2 years. I think I had my sea time. Cumulatively, I had a total sea time of 11 months and 13 days of me being on the ocean. So that you learn to kind of appreciate life and being social. You got to learn to talk to people in person, because you have no connection, and there's no connection with the outside world. But as far as Japan, the whole take off your shoe when you come into the house kind of thing, and that's real. That's a real thing there. And also too, like, they know a lot of visitors, and especially Americans, come over there, and the stereotype that Americans like to eat. So they have a lot of forks and stuff now, but you do kind of play around with the chopsticks and stuff, which took me kind of a while to get adjusted to. I still think I do it wrong, but it works. I went to Japan, and from Japan I went to Guam, which is a American territory, and then I went to the Philippines, Malaysia. Malaysia was different because that's a very conservative Muslim country. So, you're not even supposed to look people in the eye, or women in the eye and stuff like that, because, they get terrified and things like that. But ultimately, like I said, it was still fun, and different things. And then from there, I went to Hong Kong, went back to Okinawa, Japan. Then I went to Thailand. Thailand was cheap. I think it was 80 baht to the dollar. Baht is their currency. It was 80 baht to the dollar. Over there, so and they had people coming out. We was in the field, but it would be like, old ladies and stuff would drive over there in their little vans, and they would wash our clothes for us and all that type of stuff. And then from Thailand, I went back. Then I turned around. I was home actually 48 hours and left back out. To go on a classified mission. Came back from there, and then I went to Australia, which was really a great time. Australia was fun. Like you see me looking up, I'm trying to look in my brain at all the memories. Australia was fun. I went to Brisbane, Sydney, and Darwin. Which over there is kind of a, I wouldn't say it's that much different than, America. I mean, obviously it's different, but as far as it being like, it's not really like a third world country or something like that. So it's some major cities I was in and stuff like that. Darwin was more of like, the territory. It was stupid hot in Darwin. But like I said, ultimately that was really a good time. Went back to Hong Kong, and then we went to South Korea, and then ultimately I came back and, got stationed in Camp Pendleton, and then from Camp Pendleton, that's kind of where, I got out and then moved to Las Vegas. But, that was kind of just to, address kind of, some of the different places I've been to. But, culturally, you have to get cultural briefings when you go to those countries, just because there's certain things that we do here that over there is against the law. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even necessarily, like, walk up and say hi, or even, how sometimes we kind of put our hand on, like, somebody's, like, like, hey, how's it going? And kind of touch them like that. Like, if they feel like it was too aggressive or something like that, then, you know what I mean? They can try to say, you assaulted them or something. Like, there's just certain things, just talking to, you can't talk to everybody, so. It was just kind of some of the things that I learned in the differences. The food is definitely different, so if you're not accustomed, it will hit you hard. You know what I mean? And you may find out you got a food allergy that you didn't know you had. So that was some of the cultural differences that I had. For me, again, shout out to Space Cowboy, Jaime in Texas, Dallas specifically. And I'll see you all next week with my next video.